Guys, UnoPro here with my 5th video for my mana rank series. For those of you, this is your first video in this series. Basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the tier list on managlow.com and I'm working my way down the list, doing a video for each one. So this is number 5, Arcanyst High. Now I'm using Karmafy's deck list, which is actually a little bit of a throwback. Those of you remember my first ever Duelyst video was using Karmafy's deck list. So it's, cool, a little bit of nostalgia there. Karmafy is very well-known Songhai player and very strong player in general. So let's quickly go over the deck just a little bit. 2 Juxtaposition. Now this is actually my favorite card in the game. It's not really a card that's I've been able to use lately because it doesn't really fit into a traditional spell high, but really, yeah, I love this card and it's really good in this deck. Very, very creative. So just want to talk a little bit about that. No inner focus. There's no real great targets in the deck apart from the Lantern Fox. It's still okay, but yeah, I think it's fine not to have it. Maybe I'll test it with it. 3 mana Vortex, of course, 2 drops, quite a lot of 2 drops. This is a much more board control orientated Songhai than something like Spell High, so you definitely want to be able to hit the board early, capitalize, and stuff like killing Mystic Primus Fist effects become a lot more relevant. 2 Oculus Lawmaster is an interesting inclusion. I'm still not convinced, not just because Bloodborne spells make this a little bit awkward, but it's actually, it's different from the past when often you would run this against stuff like Third Wish Vitruvian and try and steal some really good spells. Now you're basically just using your own spells for the most part, but we'll see how we go. 3 Killing Edge, that's basically one of your payoff cards where you're able to get a really resilient board, a really big board, so like Chromatic Illusionist, Albe's Sage, and then Killing Edge helps that stuff. Also lets you play around Lantern Foxes and Rui, which has actually been decently relevant for me, and obviously very good with the Reaver Bloodborne spell as well. So I think every Songhai deck in the current meta really needs an answer to Zernrui, and so stuff like Juxtaposition and Lantern Fox, Killing Edge is kind of your answer. Not the best answer. You could, if you're really worried about it, you could probably switch in some Shiro Puppy Dragons in, but for now we're not worrying about it too much. 3 Bear Seal, 2 Illusionist, and then I'll just get rid of my webcam for at first, but it's been really, really good. This is a very, very grindy deck, so that's why we prefer that over something like a Spiral Technique. We're trying to outvalue our opponent, we're trying to beat them on the board, and we can win a long game. And I played like a few games before this video, and like just even against like Cassiva and stuff, I was going like super late game and doing well. So definitely a very strong deck. Here is an interesting mulligan decision. I don't know how good this matchup will be. Just because I have good answers to like Albe's Sage and stuff, we'll see. This is just so good, and this is an okay turn 1 play. I think we just do that. Hopefully we draw into some more early interaction. We do have to kind of contest the board with minions a lot more, because you're not running stuff like Twin Strike and Ghost Lightning. So, I don't know, maybe the Kara matchup isn't as good, but that's all very baseless speculation. We will actually see. It's not a terrible draw. Could be good. I think we just have to double turn up. Like tempo is way too important against Kara to go for greedy plays where we only play 1 card, and we have 3 Heavens Eclipse, so you can kind of afford to spew out your hand a little bit more than normal. So there was actually, when I was practicing this deck for this video, there was actually a really, really interesting game. I had the first one, and I thought highlighted quite a few points and kind of showed the difference between this and like a regular spell high. So I may end up going at the end and showing that game, but I'll have to see. Because he cleared, I think we do this. He's used a Cryogenesis. How do I want to position? I think I just do it here. It's just suicide to do it like that. Yeah. I mean, maybe I didn't need to move over. I could have just played it here. That was actually probably better. I don't know what I was doing there. I mean, this is also fine, but I don't know. I was rushing a little bit. We'll take our time. We'll slow down. Songhai is one of the harder factions to play in my opinion, so we do need to take our time, and I'm not nowhere near as familiar as with this deck as I am with something like a traditional Spellheim. Chromatic Cold, so he had to use Cryogenesis turn 1, so at least we get a Chromatic Cold, that's obviously preferable. Playing like more is still kind of annoying though. Okay. So obviously he's not going to give us a free trade. I think we get rid of one of these. Maybe we don't. We have an okay turn. There's not a lot we can draw into though. That's really that much better. I think they go for like almost a really passive position to play around Dancing Blades. Doesn't really work that well. Because this thing, we run out of spaces quickly. So how do I position to play around everything? Keep everything safe. That's not really a good way, is there? Well, it's a hard turn. I shouldn't have moved this to the corner. Maybe I should just cash it in. I don't want to give it a free kill though. I don't know. This is actually really difficult. Okay, we'll let the general. The general at the end of the attack actually. He probably would have played more last turn if he had it right. I think we will cycle. Our hand's not that good if we get the damage before we can. I mean, that may be a mistake, but I think it's fine. This is just a little bit too bad on tempo. Even though Mana Vortex is MVP card, I think cycling is important. That makes you have a decent play to keep up on tempo. So the reason I went with this, obviously I never want to keep the Heartseeker away. There's no artifacts normally played in Kara, and so stuff like Maw this punishes, but he probably would have Maw last turn. Okay, so do another Cryogenesis, which it definitely sucks a little bit. Cryogenesis is one of the better cards in this matchup for sure. So we kind of got rewarded for this position here. We're going to get a free trade, which is very, very important. This is kind of awkward. We don't have a very strong play this turn. Do I actually replace this? I think I do. We'll just contest the board more. Alright. So we'll go here. We're clearing here. I guess we just want to block off this. Yeah, and then we can play this like here. We definitely play this. Even though we have this in hand, we get a lot of value from it. Let's buff this. So it does feel bad like leaving this like this, but yeah. He had answers to our stuff pretty easily. It's hard to keep up early game with Kara, or any point in the game. It depends. He might not have a good answer. If these two go unanswered, we're in a good position. I think I do that a lot in my videos. I try and analyze everything, and I like get worried we're super behind. We can do okay for sure. Just don't have an answer to this, and we can do okay. It's a lot of pressure. I think I get rid of one of these. How good is that? Do we just go for this? We can get Phoenix Fires, right? Yeah. I think it's too weak to do this. Oh my god, that is terrible. Right, that's gotta be one of the worst outcomes. Alright. Oh jeez. think we still... I didn't want to do that. Like, I think that's probably too weak. Do I block off the general damage or do I block off the Heartseeker? I'd probably block off the general damage just because this kills it anyway. Could actually consider doing this, but I think it's a little too greedy. So he couldn't kill this last turn. So if he can't kill it again, we're still in good shape. It also depends how many tigers he has. But I mean, we're in a position to now outvalue him if we can stabilize, which is kind of where we want to be, right? Oh wow, he's not killing this. Let's have another answer. He's low on cards, like DB. Okay, that's probably one of the worst ones, but we do have the answer. I think 2 Heavens Eclipse we don't need. Ooh, that's a pretty good draw, right? Yeah, definitely. This. We might even do this because we have a. Yeah, I think we just make the strongest board we can. I'm gonna do the juxtaposition as well. What it means, I can have this right in his face and clear the 2/4. Okay, so positioning wise, let's do this a little bit safer. And keep this here. So it's just Tiger Burst we have to worry about now. Like, we could avoid going down to 10, I guess. He's only got 2 cards in hand. Nah, I'm gonna risk it. If it happens, that sucks, but put ourselves in a really good position. If he doesn't have double Tiger, that's like pretty brutal, right? Oh, he's gonna have it, isn't he? Whoa. 7/6 plays hand. I can deal with anything now. Look at this. This deck is so powerful when it goes off. Alright, we have... How much damage do we have? Let's replace this. Oh, that could be lethal. So we have... 5, 7. And then for every spell we cast, we get 1 more damage. So it's 7, that goes to 10 if we cast 3 spells. Okay, well, 7. And then we cast 3 spells, so 10, 13. Please tell me I haven't stuffed this up. Alright. Because if I stuff that up, I'd probably lose. Well, actually, maybe not. But, yeah. Alright. That was a pretty good game, actually. Kind of fell behind early, but this deck outvalues people so hard. And we kind of abused the read that he didn't have more and stuff like that. Yeah, worked out pretty well. Maybe the Kara matchup isn't too bad. I honestly don't know too much about the matchup. I think I might have versed... Maybe I versed Kara? If I did, I won, but... Yeah, I'm not sure. Ugh, this is... Like that, I guess. It's not a great hand. Yeah. Double Killing Edge isn't great. It's just so early, like all in early on all the time. You really would rather just develop the minions on your head. Oh, Gravity Walls, this is annoying. God. This could actually be a bad matchup. We don't run the Ghost Lightning. It's not a very fun card, is it? Oh, I think that's probably just best. Yeah, Jackson's like a real problem here. Plus, like, Faye will have all the answers to this stuff, and could be a bit awkward. If this is like Spellhigh, then this is a really good matchup, I think, because we just have so much damage and can ignore the board a bit, and this stuff does nothing against us. I mean, Ghost Lightning Jacks, but yeah, Arcanyst High probably a lot worse than Spellhigh. I think we just need to try and get some aggression going. Or we stick an unanswered one of these. I don't know, Prismatic Illusionist, like if we can prep one, counter Jacks in advance, try and keep an Arcane Heart in the, well, actually Heartseeker in the corner. I mean, it's fine. I'm not playing on the Mana Tile though. I think it's better than this. I think this card is just really important in this deck. In Spellhigh, obviously, 4 wins is super important, but I mean, you could make an argument that I played. No, you definitely play this one. And we want to kind of bait out the stuff like Chromatic Cold, Aspect of the Fox, and because this works so much better against damage, but it's better against Dispel, obviously. So maybe we do go for one next turn though. Do I even want this? I probably do. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. It's a little greedy. Now, we're drawing our 4 drops. So which one do we really want to stick? It probably is the Owl Beast, right? But do we go for one now? Get it online while we can? I think we do with 4 wins actually. And I'm actually going to play it on the Mana Tile now. It really sucks though, because he can get Jacks here. I don't know. Could I stop that actually? I should have. No, I couldn't have stopped it. Oh, unless I give up the Heartseeker. Maybe that's worth it, but like, what am I? No. What am I doing by delaying it a turn? Like, if I just give my Heartseeker, I'm not advancing my own game plan. Yeah. And I wonder if that means he doesn't have it. I don't know if that's for sure. 4 wins is a very scary card. Oh, that's a bit annoying. Okay, so our turn this turn is a bit awkward. Maybe we get rid of 4 wins. We don't have enough spells. Okay. Maybe I oh, what am I doing? That's so dumb. I'm an idiot. I'm just so used to disrespecting the walls. Like, I just don't consider them anything. But they do have provoke. That's pretty good, especially when you're playing like an idiot. But I mean, it's fine. Like, we just get it out there. Just gotta start playing him, I think. Try and get a really good board before he can Jacks, before he draws into it. If he has it this turn, that's a little bit problematic. But what are we gonna do? And I don't know. It's just Dancing Blades, Half Sister. Okay. Doesn't matter. Hopefully he makes this trade for us. I love when people do that for me. Do I play around Zenrui? Do I play around Zenrui? I hate Zenrui. God damn Zenrui. Makes everything so much harder. And then he's just sitting back, relaxing. Oh, got Zenrui. This game's easy. Doesn't have to think about it, but I have to do all the thinking. Okay. Oh, it's so weak, everything. No, I'm playing around Zenrui. maybe I shouldn't have done. I should have positioned differently. I'm rushing a bit. Oh no, it's fine. This is fine. He's not going to deal with the damage. Play around Dancing Blades, I guess. We're playing 2 spells. I should be thinking more about this before I move. Nah. No. 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 It's just a little bit unreliable when we're behind on the board. Well, we're not behind on the board, obviously, but it's very easy for him to take it back. But if he's playing Jacks in his deck, which you have to imagine he is, like, that's a ticking time bomb when he draws it. Unless we can set up a good board. But I mean, we're actually no Jacks here, no removal for this. Last turn he did this and this, which he probably just do that anyway. Right, I don't think he would use a Chromatic Cold if he didn't have to. Hailstone. I mean, it's always going to happen. Okay, we got rewarded for playing around Zenro. This is getting clunky. It's a pretty good draw, right? We just clear. We don't need the cards that much. I think we do just clear. Like, we're even getting a little bit low, so... I mean, it does suck to miss out on the card, but we have this if we need to. Yeah. So do we play around the second Zenrui? I don't know. Guess we'll see what he plays. Bloody Zenrui. We need to bring back the one-man army highs. That was a fun deck. And you never have to worry about Zenrui ever again. And Chromatic Cold. Okay. I guess we play it again, play around it again, because we have like a play anyway, right? Getting low. Yeah, we'll play around it again. Do we want to play that? No, I think we just Bloodborne spell. It's just better. Do I start to worry about Spirit of the Wild combos? Nah, we just do this. Like, oh, we'll go here. We'll start to make some. Why not attack? I mean, Vana, if they draw answers to this thing, it's just so annoying sometimes. They just have such cheap answers to everything. Which is good against a deck like this at times. Well, we probably wanted like Prismatic Illusionist here. To punish their lack of AoE. Yeah, I thought about going one extra one back, and maybe I could have. To play around this kind of thing, but I don't think it's the biggest deal. And then once again we have to decide if we play around Zenrui. How fun. Might be getting a little bit desperate at this point. I think we do this, then we have this worst case scenario. Oh, that is actually really good here. Alright, we can't play around Zenrui now, right? He only got 2 cards. Now he's got Bloodborne spell every turn, so we're under a lot of pressure. We use a lot of our things. That is sick. Okay, well we do it. Yeah. No reason not to. It doesn't help us. Not looking good. So this, what, 6? Guess I just gotta block as much damage as I can, but how do I even do that? You can't block any attacks. Okay. I don't know if I could really block damage there. I think we just lose, right? I don't think there was a way to stop that. I can't block any damage because of the walls. So that's 4, yeah, we're dead. Oh, that was a frustrating game. Maybe he doesn't see it, but it's hard to imagine. Okay, well, he feels like he needs to be MS, that's fine. Maybe it's faster, maybe I'm just salty. Alright, so that was a bit of a tough game. As I said, I don't think that was the best matchup. Man, it took me so many wins to get down to that rank. So as I said, I kind of do want to show off that replay. So I put it last, so maybe, I don't know if some people have a problem with replays or not. But I thought it was a really interesting game, and kind of showcased an important matchup, Cassiva, and the difference in playstyle from Songhai. So we'll turn real time off, we'll keep that off. So mulligan wise, we'll go over the plays. I think I probably would have done this. Yeah. You just don't want the situational cards. I thought about playing Primus first, but like, what lines am I playing Chakri ever? Because if I go like Land Fox Chakri, that's if he plays nothing. Most of the time I want to play Phoenix Fire, so I would rather have this on board, and I go Land Fox Phoenix Fire. So that was the reasoning there. And I think we do that. Wow, real time really goes fast. Why is it so fast? I don't know. This feels like a bug. So I play Land Fox. Alright, I'm going to slow that down for a bit. And I decide that I'm going to use the juxtaposition because it clears the board. Like, this dies, right? But I know I have. Like, this is a solid one-turn play, and I know I have Heaven's Eclipse, so I know I can come back on the board. I just want to get in there early. So that was the reasoning there. It's risky, but I think it's probably correct. Because otherwise, this is just sitting here at a 2-3. He has a 2-3 on board, or a 2-1 if I attack. Then he comes in trades. Maybe it's better because he can't avoid the Fox damage, but he didn't end up doing that. And so he just goes for a Light Bender, which I think is fine. Maybe I could have played around that. Moving here, I'm not quite sure. Alright, so here I'm thinking I didn't really want to just play this. So I probably want to play this just on curve. It's a little bit risky because Zenrui is a potential, card, but he's only got 4 in hand. It's not in running every Cassiva. I think this is one of those situations where I feel like I need to play it, just because my alternatives are really, really weak. Actually, no. I think I did play around Zenrui. Yeah, I did play around Zenrui, which I think was actually pretty key here. Yeah, I don't know. This is a few hours since I played this game. So yeah, what I did here, I think this is really, really important positioning to play like this. So anything he wants to play that's ever going to attack me, my Fox will be in range of, but obviously he can never Zenrui me here. So I think that's actually really, really important. We have stuff like Killing Edge, we have Juxtaposition, so I can find that eventually, or I can force him to run. And that's not the worst thing in the world. We don't do as well from distance as like a Songhai deck, but it's still something. We still have the Heartseekers if we can get one around the Bloodborne spell, which is quite important. So that was kind of the reasoning there. I think this is very important, and I think what this video has kind of highlighted so far is how important it is for Songhai players to play around Zenrui, because it's so good on Land Fox. It's unfortunate because it takes so much more skill on the Songhai player to play around it, whereas the person who has a Zenrui, you know, they just use it. Anyway, that's enough rambling about Zenrui. So here I just developed the Duelyst. It doesn't feel great, but he can't Dancing Blades ping, so that's not the end of the world to play it there. I do want to play it relatively close. I don't have any Arcanyst in hand, so I need it to function as a minion, and it's not doing enough, you know, all the way back here or something. So once again, I'm kind of forcing him to stay in this back zone here, just because like the Fox is a massive threat, and then I have Killing Edge if it ever comes close enough. I think Killing Edge is actually really good in the Abyssian matchup as well. So he Demonic Laws trades both in, and I think that's, you know, perfectly fine for me. Sure, Duelyst is a great card, but I think this is a decent amount of value. It was too greedy to do nothing there, and Onyx Bear Seal on this, it's not really stopping any aggression. This thing isn't actually doing that much, and there's much more, you know, must answer cards. So we kind of get rewarded for that. Next turn is actually quite an interesting one, and you could probably debate it, but I think with him having 2 cards in hand, it actually turned out being the correct play. So what I did was, I believe, I Bear Seal the Duelyst, and then I play Killing Edge on this and move it forward. So basically I'm playing around Zenrui there. It's bad against Dispel. We've already seen a Dispel. He's running Lightbenders, probably not Shrouds, and if you run Lightbenders, you probably don't want 3 in Cassiva. So chances of Dispel are pretty low. And then Spectral Revenant trades in. Like, I'm fine. I get a Phoenix Fire and he trades in. This is all because I have Heaven Eclipse as my last card, obviously. And in lines where he doesn't have those things like Demonic Law, we don't care about. So in those lines, basically non-dispel lines, I think it's really good. Spectral Revenant is a little bit awkward, but we're probably still pretty happy with that. He basically passes his turn 7, gives us Phoenix Fire, and we have Heaven's Eclipse. So I think this is a really important play that we were allowed to do because we had Heaven's Eclipse in hand. So this is doing nothing. We don't really care about his health at the moment. We're fighting for value here. Like, he's low on cards. Just have right. Like, we can win a value game with this really easily. So he has the Shadow Nova. It's a little bit awkward for him. We get 2 Phoenix Fires. So I thought about replacing Heaven's Eclipse. Do I? No, because I decided like I can play a long game here. So I replace the second one, and we just draw a ton of Phoenix Fires. I could have gone face here, but that seems a little bit bad, especially with this thing on. So I just Phoenix Fire this, and we have a hand that can. It's not a terrible hand. We still want something like a Bear Seal at some point, just because he's big threats and conceive like Vorpal Reaver. But I think that's fine, and this is actually a really nice draw. It's pretty good against Cassiva. There's not a lot of, you know, long range answers that we've talked about. Obviously very important to play around Shadow Nova, but the double Phoenix Fire works out pretty well here. And we can see we have a 6 card hand. He has 3 cards, and we have healing now, which is actually really important. It lets us play a long game much easier because we don't just die to, you know, a second Shadow Nova or potentially even a third if this goes off. So I play Juxtaposition. It's a free proc, but that's not worth a card at this point. I think this is important. I can double Phoenix Fire this. Our base is probably like a game losing potential. Well, we still have Bezos in the deck, but everything else gets cleaned up pretty easily. 4 wins isn't the end of the world either. So this is fine. I thought about attacking here. I don't know if I actually ended up. I might have. Probably fine. Because we were ahead and we have, yeah, 4 wins. So a bit of aggression, and we have potential Killing Edge, stuff like that. So we're able to clear the board and have this alive, and we're still ahead on cards. We still have a Heaven's Eclipse. We just need to survive. So I make Shadow Nova really awkward. Spectral Revenant we have an answer to, so it's actually not too bad. And now it's kind of just about converting my value gain. I've won the value game for the most part. Like, there's ways that you can get back, obviously, but we've done a pretty good job in winning the value game. So now it's converting that, making sure our health stays around. It's probably pretty hard to ever come up with lines that beat a 3rd Shadow Nova, but when he doesn't Shadow Nova the 2nd time, we can make reads that when he played Reaper the Numbers instead, we can make reads that obviously he doesn't have a 2nd Shadow Nova. So we don't really play around the 3rd ever. So Dark Transformation is a little unfortunate. Healing Mystic, I think it's just a little bit low impact this stage of the game. I don't really need the healing that badly. So here I go for, I think this is a pretty interesting play. The Bloodborne spell is always going to counter my Bloodborne spell at this stage of the game, and we have it every turn. So Killing Edge is really good here. Sure, it doesn't get to attack, but he's on 2 cards. We've exhausted most of his removal. There's not really a lot that deals with it. There's Demonic Law, Dispel, so maybe I could have played around Lightbender a bit better. But I think that's fine. I thought about Phoenix firing here to try and get this 1 in 3 to block off the path. So you could probably criticize my positioning a little bit if I could have... Well, it's very hard to play around him just coming in and pinging. So that's probably fine. And I needed to play around Shadow Nova, obviously. So the key threats are all positioned around, and they all work well from range. So see, we're in a pretty good position here. Though obviously he has this, he has another Shadow Nova scary, but you still have the tools. And having, it's basically just, this game has been so much better because we've had Heaven's Eclipse in hand. Not even the Heaven's Eclipse effect, just knowing we can play around it and then refuel later gives us so much more freedom. If I was on long cards, say this was like Primus Fist, like I would feel very, I might still make this play because he was long cards, but definitely feels a lot better knowing I can refuel at any point. So he plays Vorpal Reaver, which is very, very scary. But not the end of the world. So Heaven's Eclipse, we've played 1 Bear Seal. We're pretty far in, so the chances of getting a second Bear Seal aren't that good. Alcuin's not great here, but it's still okay. So I think I go for the Heaven's Eclipse and look for it. But worst case scenario, we just like trade this in, and that's fine most of the time. But we do get the Bear Seal, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we get the Bear Seal. And I trade in. I think I do use my Bloodborne spell here. Like, you can make arguments not using it, but worst case scenario, he general attack and pings. So I give him 2 ping targets if that's how he needs to answer this thing. Yeah, so I kind of rushed here. This was a bit of a mistake. I should not have played the Heartseeker like this. I should have played it here. My reasoning for moving here was basically I wanted to get into a position. I feel like I'm pretty far ahead now, where I take as little damage from Shadow Nova as possible. So I want to get in this square, avoid advantage. That's basically the logic there. So he draws another Dark Transformation, so unfortunately able to answer this without taking another damage, and that means he can clear off the Heartseeker. So at this point I need to be careful because my Bloodborne spell is just giving him Shadow Creep most of the time. So it works well with spell procs. So you see, once again, having the Heaven's Eclipse in hand is so good, and that's why 3 Heaven's Eclipse is actually pretty good at times. It's not something I've been a fan of, but I think in this deck it's really, really good. So I think I end up going for a play with 4 Winds Magi, Killing Edge, and Bloodborne spell. And one of the reasons is that we're just presenting these big threats. He's used double Dark Transformation, Demonic Law. It's not the end of the world. We even have Juxtaposition at some point. We get the spell procs, and we just refill our hand whenever we need to. So it works out really well. So I move here. I get to this spot that I talked about. I mean, you don't really need to at this point because you can just move here. And it's the same thing. It's 3 extras, but then you play around Shadow Nova. So I think this is definitely the best spot for my general. And even just getting away from this zone is probably fine as well. So I think I actually end up putting the Heartseeker on this square, which I think is pretty important. I'm just getting the spell proc. He's at 9 mana, so he's very rarely going to be punished by having to use that 1 mana to do it. So I avoid giving him an extra creep. I get the spell proc. So I think that's all fine. And that's one of the reasons people are always very quick to say, oh, Cassiva is so good against Reaver because you ping them. But like, I don't think that's true at all. I think in a vacuum, these hero powers work like quite equally against each other because sure, you can deal with mine, but you only get a shadow creep, which isn't always that relevant if they don't draw a Nova or play multiple Novas or don't get to Nova, and you make them use that mana. I'm the one doing the threat. If I don't use my Bloodborne spell, I don't get punished. We go on equal. But if you don't use it and I use mine, then you're in trouble. So it's fine, and then we have spell synergy. So definitely, it's a skillful thing. We have to definitely think a lot more about how we use our Bloodborne spell than the Cassiva player does, but it's definitely not the end of the world. So that's what we end up going with. And finally, you can't deal with something, which is definitely to be expected at this point. So once again, we have Heaven's Eclipse. I wonder if I think I do just go for it. I want to keep Bear Seal, and obviously this is very good with a 4 wins on board, and then we draw Juxtaposition. So Juxtaposition was one of the draws I had in mind, where I can just kill my opponent, and that's what we do. So yeah, I wanted to show off that game just because I think it really showcases the difference between like Spell High and Arcanyst High some of the time. Like, so you can do a similar thing with Spell High for sure, but just showing the different ways that Spell High can win. We really just saw we could outvalue our opponent, and the Heaven's Eclipse plan worked super well with that. We took our opponent late game, and then you have healing, stabilize, so just getting in control. Yeah, so I thought that was quite an interesting game. Obviously, I was pretty happy to show it because I won as well. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool game because a lot of the time I hear people complaining, or not complaining, asking me how does Spell High beat or Songhai beat Gazeva, because you're just picking off my stuff. How do I win? It's definitely something that's harder. It comes with time as you play Songhai more and more. But you got to learn that. Sure, when Bloodborne spells get traded in a vacuum, your opponent gets a Shadow Creep and you're left with nothing, but you're the proactive one, and being proactive is a lot better than being reactive, because your opponent has to react to you, but you don't have to play a Heartseeker. You can just pass, and then they have to save that Bloodborne spell for you. Plus, you get spell synergy of it. Say you play like a 4 Winds Magi in the back, you think your opponent might have Dark Transformation. If you play your Bloodborne spell going into 5 mana, they can have Dark Transformation, or they can ping your Heartseeker. Whereas you have a lot more flexibility. If you want to include your Bloodborne spell, you can just play a Land Fox and Bloodborne spell instead of playing a 4-drop. So, being proactive is very important, and understanding how the Bloodborne spell works is a very, very key part of the matchup. So, that was basically, I think the list was very, very strong. The Fey game was a little bit unfortunate, just because we don't have Ghost Lightning, and we didn't run to Jax, but it was just a hard game. He just had answers for everything. Yeah, I guess in that kind of matchup, Prismatic Illusions gets pretty good, especially if you can just get it going off, just because Fey doesn't, or Kara doesn't really have much AoE at all, unless they're running something like Naga, which even then doesn't do that much. So, when we keep this in some matchups, and in a matchup like that, I may just even be really greedy with it if I think I can get away with it, and just get a massive turn like that. So, it's definitely lots of ways to approach it. You have lots of different tools for lots of different matchups, and that's something I really like about this deck. You can go just really sturdy minions against some damage-based classes like Lionar, which only has really Martyrdom, and sometimes Sunbloom. So maybe that's not the best example. Maybe Songhai is a good example of that. Abyssinian is a good example of that a lot of the time. Or you have healing lines. Again, it's like aggressive burn decks. You just have Killing Edge, which is definitely really good with ranged against stuff like Magmar. So there's lots of ways you can approach the matchups. As you play, you'll kind of learn that. So I may actually end up showcasing some more Arcanyst High, but I think I still prefer Spell High. It's just my favorite deck in the game. I really like it, but we'll see how this goes. If it keeps working for me, I mean, I went 1-1 on video, but the games before that I all won. So it's a very, very strong deck. So that concludes number 5. I feel like I've rambled a long time going over that game and Arcanyst High, but very, very strong deck. Credit to Karmafy for making the deck. I think he's one of the pioneers of Arcanyst High. Really, really loves the deck as far as I can tell. So check it out. I'll have the link in the description. If you want to see more of these, next one, I don't actually know what's number 6 on Manarax. I will check that out, and then obviously my normal content as well. So if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys.